Prime Minister announces incentives for non-medal winners. Anthem alterations raised in Parliament. And permanent resettlement for Manam Islanders 11 years on.
This is National MTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Tuesday's news. The government has stood by its decision to give incentives for medal winners of the 2015 Pacific Games. Yesterday, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill also announced the government's decision to provide 2,500 kina each to non-medal winners. He made the announcement at the Team PNG celebrations at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium.
The festivities began with a motorcade from the Jack Piddick Park to the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium, with the members of the team paraded in full-size buses draped in the national colours. After 2 weeks of regional competition and having won the 15th Pacific Games, it was time for Team PNG to relish in celebration. All athletes were present, including Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and the Minister for Sports and 2015 Pacific Games, Justin Tachenko. President of the PNG Sports Federation and Olympic Committee, Sir John Dawanikura, said these games were the best PNG has had so far.
It was our best result ever. 44 gold medals in 91, 48 gold medals in 2011 and in 2015. 88 gold, 69 silver and 60 bronze.
Chef de mission Richard Kassman was a happy man, thanking the coaches, team managers, organizing committee, volunteers and everyone involved in the hosting of the games.
You've been a really fantastic and amazing team to lead. We're #1 in the Pacific. We're #1 in the Pacific. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister O'Neill was full of praise for the athletes.
You have made us very, very proud of your achievements. Thank you on behalf of our country. You have lifted the pride of our nation.
And much to the delight of a majority of the athletes, the Prime Minister announced the government's decision to also recognize the sacrifices and participation of the non-medal winners of Team PNG.
We will give all the other non-medal winners 2,500 kina each to support you.
The celebration was open to the public and lured quite a number to join in the celebrations. The party continued with song performances by artists in the likes of Protege, Straki, the DJs and many others. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, the public in Port Moresby shared their views regarding the government's initiative in paying incentives to athletes. Our reporter Jack Lapava Jr. hit the streets today and he files this story.
A hefty sum of 7 million kina was budgeted by the PNG government to cater for Team PNG athletes as incentives. Despite much criticism, some say the athletes placed PNG on the world map and the incentive is a token of appreciation.
Appreciate them.
They've done us all proud, Lodisla. So in a way, we are government compensating more, Lodisla. We're very happy, Lord. That initiative that government put in.
For the shop owner at Gereu, he says past governments did not appreciate the efforts put in by athletes.
Past time, I think it looks well or previous government. This benefit them only give him good plus trade by helping him behind time.
Others were critical in commenting, saying the incentives will boost athletes' morale to prepare and give the best in upcoming sporting events.
Boost the morale long upcoming athletes for the future games. So me talk big thank you long PM na long this good plan one member initiative long and this games
Government is like promoting
athletes from the country or some. So we say, no give him this kind of money and by making spirit blow man but go down. So nowadays money live on top of money make him work, money make him money when really go work inside long end. He got money long end or money make him work.
This young lad told MTV everyone behaved well, including non-athletes, who created a safe and peaceful environment for all the Pacific nations to compete in the games.
So what make him mogora man mo winners na in all TNC players all but them good players all make is labat. Hindi don't plan two platinum team.
Jack Lapave Jr. National MTV News.
The Electoral Commission is considering to extend the polling period for the West Sepik provincial by-election. Polling is scheduled to end this Friday. However, due to logistics and financial delays, Electoral Commissioner Sir Andrew Trowen says he will advise the Governor-General to extend the polling period.
The call to extend polling in West Sepik province was due to late payment of security allowances for police, bad weather and technical problems faced in Telefomin district. While the payment of allowances was sorted out last week, technical issues with one of the helicopters used for election operations is further delaying the movement of polling teams into Telefomin. Poll voter turnout in all polling venues in West Sepik is also delaying polling. Sir Andrew Trowen in a media statement said the number of voters voting for the provincial seat is way below numbers in the 2012 general elections, and he is calling on all eligible voters in West Sepik to exercise their democratic right by casting their votes. The status of polling in West Sepik is as follows. Aitapelumi, 18 polling teams with 6 completed and 12 to go. Vanimo Green District, 28 polling teams with 6 completed and 22 currently polling. Nuku District, 16 polling teams, 6 completed and 10 to go. And Telefomin District, 22 polling teams yet to start polling. Meanwhile, for the Goilala Open, no major incidents were reported during polling. From the 39 polling teams sent to the 4 LLGs of Goilala, 10 teams are yet to complete polling. The counting of the Goilala Open will be conducted at the PNG IPA Hall in Waigani, Port Moresby, while a counting venue is yet to be confirmed for the West Sepik provincial seat. While pollings are scheduled to end this coming Friday, Electoral Commissioner Sir Andrew Trowen says he will advise the Governor-General to extend the polling period. Stanley Oved Jr., National MTV News.
Well, it's quite an unthinkable thing to become refugees in your own country. But for Manam Islanders in the Madang province, a volcanic eruption on the once peaceful island has made them natural disaster refugees in their own district. After 11 years of intense struggling in care centres, the proposal to permanently resettle them in Underroom is expected to go through Parliament for the first reading.
In 2004, the volcanic eruption on Manam Island devastated the entire community. Food gardens and river streams were polluted, forcing an emergency rescue for the islanders to settle in care centers on mainland Bogia. Government's relief supplies ceased after a year, forcing the islanders to farm the coconut plantations and build houses from the few trees available. Their stay in the care centers dragged on. The weeks turned into months and then years, gardening the same land area and living in traditional houses with limited chances of maintenance. Continuous fighting with mainland Bogia landlords has been common. Volcanologists have prevented their return to the island because they say volcanic activities are continuing and worsening. After 11 years, the proposal to permanently resettle them in Underroom on mainland Bogia has finally gained momentum. Madang Governor Jim Cass says this is only the beginning and there is still a long process that lies ahead.
If the bill is passed this session of Parliament, it will be the start of a long process. I must repeat, a very, very long process for the resettlement process to begin.
The Manam Restoration Act is expected to be tabled in Parliament this sitting. Quinten Alomp, National MTV News.
One of East New Britain's oldest schools has celebrated its 40th anniversary. Cockapoo Secondary School, located in the heart of Cockapoo town, has lived through 4 decades and continues to grow. Today, it accommodates 1,500 students and it's listed as a model school in the province and the country. MTV's Edwin Fidelis has this story from Cockapoo.
When Cockapoo High School was first established in 1972, it wasn't as big as it is today. Today, it accommodates up to 1,500 students every year, and 40 years on, it has become a role model school in the province and the country. The effort put into keeping the school going over those years wasn't an easy task, and Paul Raya, the current principal, is one of the contributors towards the success of the school carried on over the years.
I've managed to run the school through just delegation, a whole lot of delegation, accountability. I've got 3 deputy principals. My biggest draw card is a very good batch of HODs, head of departments. So if I can get the inner team strong, the school will run well. So
the school had lived through the years, even after the 1994 eruption that devastated various parts of East New Britain province. So to commemorate its 40 years of contribution into the provincial education, the school staged a 3-day festivity last week. The provincial government, on the other hand, have realized its importance and for the first time in many years began pumping money into the school's infrastructure.
We have practiced the only triple shift practice in the country, successfully. This year marks we just went back because we have expanded and a very good indication of the expansion of our facilities. We have made so many good progress, very good progress. We've been able to build extra classrooms. So we decided to go back normal first, whilst the shift policy is done up properly. And even the next year and the next couple of years, we can be able to get 200 students every year in. So if we are on 1,005 now, we might be on 1,007 next year.
Cockapoo Secondary School is amongst the list of priority areas for the provincial government to look at as Cockapoo changes from a town into a growing city. On Saturday, the East New Britain Governor, Airman Tobaining Jr. opened the school's new administration building funded by the provincial government, and it is the first of many to come, the governor says. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News, Cockapoo.
Among more stories coming up after the break, Parliament resumes for the July session and Madang Governor Jim Kass supports the controversial PMIZ. Stay tuned for all the details. Good to have you back with the news. Well, Parliament resumed today for a brief moment this afternoon before its adjournment to tomorrow. First question without notice was from Kundiawa Gembog MP Tobias Kulang, who took the opportunity to thank the government for delivering the 2015 Pacific Games. The day's second question came from Kikori MP Mark Maipakai, wanting answers from the Prime Minister in reference to the second LNG project.
Open member for Kikori, Mark Maipakai, who has been vocal on the topic of piping gas out of Gulf, put the question to Prime Minister Peter O'Neill this afternoon.
Question without notice, the Prime Minister. In the latest attempt to support the decision by Total SA and its development partners to pipe gas from Elk Antelope fields in the Gulf Province to Caution Bay in the Central Province.
He wanted to know whether the PNC-led government views are different from its party member and regional member of Gulf, Avila Cavo, about having a processing plant in Central for the second LNG project.
In changing your stand, Mr. Prime Minister, did you take into consideration the position of the regional member for Gulf being one of your own party men, and where does he stand now?
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill urged the people of Gulf and the elected leaders to have the same view as the government with the aim of delivering the second LNG project.
Let us work for the interest of our people there and try and find a deal that is going to benefit our people. We welcome the leaders of Gulf to be on the same table with the government while we are negotiating with Total and the partners in getting a better deal for Papua New Guineans.
Prime Minister O'Neill said the operator Total has made an economical decision and the government should respect that if the project is to be delivered.
Mr. Speaker, as a government, it is our responsibility to try and encourage investors to come and invest in this very highly competitive sector. And given that globally, when we see the commodity prices, particularly for oil and gas, have dropped almost to record lows, today to attract an investor to come and invest in those fields is very, very hard.
It told the people of Gulf to be optimistic as there are other benefits like the construction of the condensate plant in Gulf, and there is also the domestic market obligation to be fulfilled. Michelle Amba, National MTV News.
The debate in the alteration of words in the National Anthem sung during the Pacific Games opening ceremony hit the floors of Parliament this afternoon. Member for Kundiawa Gambok, Tobias Kulang, questioned Attorney General Anopala on the penalties of such an offence. Kulang says relevant authorities must be proactive to address this issue.
The debate over the changes in words of the National Anthem is far from over. This afternoon during question time, Kundiawa Gambok MP Tobias Kulang said no authorities had moved to deal with the matter.
Usad ba pas lo resim dis la kain issue na bring all this la o one blablo emi abrusim maklo dis la kain way igolo court or some la kain punishment may come up.
Kulang says the national anthem and flag is the pride of the country and those responsible must be dealt with seriously.
The kind something of the national anthem emi very very important emi step close to heart blow. Na milulu this la long. Suppose you get some like a punishment was 1,000 kina tasol.
Attorney General Anopala responded generally to MP Kulang's question. Minister Pala said there is a minor fine.
But it is one of those things that should never be done again.
However, Minister Pala said there was a digression which can be ignored, but those responsible can be prosecuted.
Because there is an offense, and a person who alters the words of our national anthem is guilty of an offense for which he can be prosecuted.
Meanwhile, Churches Council of PNG and the public say those responsible must be arrested and questioned. Jagla Pava Jr., National MTV News.
One of Papua New Guinea's best-known anthropologists, Nancy Sullivan, has died in a car accident in the United States. Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Rembing Pato has confirmed Sullivan's death. While the crash is being investigated, Minister Pato expressed sympathy on the tragic loss and has assured the victims' immediate relatives that PNG is liaising with relevant U.S. authorities. Mr. Pato says the next course of action will be undertaken once a full incident brief is submitted. Madang Governor Jim Cuss has also passed on his sympathies to colleagues, friends and relatives of late Dr. Nancy Sullivan.
Now all partners, international NGOs, all national NGOs, where Nancy Sullivan is away, work one time all. Me Salim Bigla talks over me go along all family belong Nancy Sullivan. Now all partners belong.
The Madang Governor has also thrown his support behind the controversial Pacific Marine Industrial Zone in his province. Mr. Cuss says the project will give ripple benefits to the province and his administration is supporting the government's intention to develop the PMIZ project.
Controversy surrounding the PMIZ project in Madang has gained popularity in the media recently. Sumkar MP Ken Fewera and several non-government organizations and local people opposing the project based on the grounds that the project would pollute the marine ecosystem and create social problems. The Sumkar MP wants the project moved to Dilu Plantation on the north coast of Madang. The Madang Governor, however, has been silent over the issue until today when he spoke to the media.
The PMIZ was passed by the previous government. It is this government's agenda also. And as governor of the Madang Provincial Government and Madang Provincial Administration, I am for PMIZ.
He says the project will give ripple effects to developments in the province.
Because PMIZ is going to radiate a lot of other chain effects in Madang.
He said this after presenting the 2013 and 2014 acquittals from the Provincial Support Improvement Program funds to the Department of Implementation and Rural Development today. Quintan Alomp, National MTV News.
Papua New Guinea will continue to aspire to improve challenges faced in the aviation industry at the regional level. This was the assurance from newly appointed chairman of the Association of South Pacific Airlines, Simon Fu. MTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
And New Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu was recently appointed chairman of the South Pacific Airlines. In an exclusive, Mr. Fu told MTV News, Papua New Guinea will continue to participate to support ideals of ASPA, to promote commercial agreements and interchange ideas.
We work to implementing these in the coming year. One of them is like a common fuel refueler for all stakeholders. The improvement of code-share services between the countries where traffic is very thin and there's no air services.
Association of South Pacific Airlines General Secretary George Fauktaufon congratulated Mr. Fu for his appointment as Papua New Guinea's national airline, and New Guinea has been a founding member.
New Guinea was a founding member of ASPA, and today they remain one of the strongest supporters of ASPA and probably the largest Pacific carrier within the ASPA group, apart from Fiji Airways.
Fauktaufon said regional issues concerning aviation will continue to be discussed to improve network with industry partners. Fabian Hakalitz, National MTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3615 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.3540, $0.4773 Australian dollars, $0.323 euro, and 43.58 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold closed the day lower, while coffee, cocoa, and copra closed higher. Palm oil and crude oil closed higher as well, while copper closed the day lower. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 14 points lower, the ASX closed at 16 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 16 points higher as well. When we come back, Pacific Island leaders call for a decrease in fossil fuel. Also, Japan apologizes for World War II atrocities and shark attack caught on video. Stay with us.
Tukai Sports.
Welcome to Trugai Sports. Tests for the Pacific Games venues continued this weekend with the Taurama Aquatic Centre venue test today. The general public was given free entry into the world-class complex to watch Team PNG athletes trial the new venue.
The national volleyball, basketball, swimming, taekwondo and karate teams all took the courts, pool and floor to have a feel of the venue to be used during the games.
Yeah, this facility will contain up to, we can hold up to about 3,000 people at any one time.
The general public was also granted free access to have a peek of the newly built Taurama Aquatic Centre today.
I think the venue is pretty good, pretty impressive, the quality of the venue, and it's very good to see a lot of people coming up to show interest there. And I think it's going to be a good development for our nation as a whole, for the sporting for our country.
The Taurama Aquatic Centre has a 25-meter warm-up pool and a standard 50-meter swimming pool. The test today was also used to monitor the movement of spectators in and out of the venue, as well as the park and ride system, which will be used due to restricted parking at the Taurama Aquatic Centre. Now, as you can see, Port Moresby residents have turned out in numbers for the testing of the Taurama Aquatic Centre. Now, the first test was done last weekend at the Sir John Guy Stadium, and continuous testing will be done on various venues in the lead-up to the Games. Dion Kombang, National MTV Sports.
In round 15 of the Interest Super Cup, the SPPNG Hunters have secured another win against Tweed Heads Seagulls 32 points to 24. This is the Hunters' 7th win in a row after coming off an impressive performance in Port Moresby last week. This now puts the Hunters in 3rd place on the ladder with 24 points, behind Ipswich Jets in 2nd place and the Townsville Blackhawks in the lead of the competition with 26 points. The fight night held yesterday at the Lamana Hotel attracted many boxing fans and followers. Last night's bouts featured fighters from Queensland, Australia, who fought the PNG national boxing team for the Pacific Games. The boxing team returned from Baguio City in Philippines after 2 months of training for the fight night.
Going to be absolutely
There was a total of 11 bouts last night. The first was the 49 kg division between Charlie Keama and Australia's Josh English. English is the 49 kg Queensland champ. Charlie put up a good fight, but it wasn't enough to secure a win. The first fight between the ladies was in the 51 kg division, which saw PNG's Philo MacGyver take on Queensland's Sheneka Johnson. After 8 minutes of 4 rounds of exciting boxing, a split decision between the judges was made and the bout went in favour of the Queenslander. The super heavyweight fight for the night was in the 91 kg plus division between PNG's Vincent Cora in the blue corner and Australia's Justice Hooney in the red corner. The heavyweights went at each other in the first 2 rounds. In the third round, Justice Hooney capitalized on the tired Vincent and snuck out a win. In the women's 60 kg, Rafaela Baki took on young Sky Nicholson in an entertaining frenzy. Both girls went at each other in an equally matched fight. After the final round, a split decision was made by the judges that went Sky Nicholson's way.
Blue corner, Sky Nicholson.
In the 75 kg, PNG's Jonathan Keama hammered his way through Clay Waterman. The bout was stopped in the second round. Waterman could not continue due to injury, declaring Keama the winner. The Bougainvilleans in the PNG team, Henry Oomings and Thaddeus Katoa, also won their bouts as they put on an extremely entertaining fight against the Queenslanders. The final match, which was also the quickest bout, so the referee stopped the match in the very first round. PNG captain Tom Boga threw knockout punches at opponent Ben Bowes, resulting in minor concussions, having the ref stop the match.
The blue corner, Tom Boga.
The fight night turned out to be a success with Telecom PNG, Lamana and other business houses sponsoring some of the bouts. Elijah Levette, National MTV Sports.
And that wraps up our sports news. I'll be back with the weather details. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Welcome to True Kai Sports. The government has announced that it will continue to support the high performance program over the next few years. It was welcome news for PNG athletes when Prime Minister Peter O'Neill made the announcement last night at the Team PNG celebrations in Port Moresby.
The Prime Minister made some important remarks about the future of sports in Papua New Guinea after the very successful Pacific Games. He said in 3.5 years, the government had spent 1.2 billion kina to build world-class facilities for the Games, and it was money well spent because of the achievements. Mr. O'Neill said governments must continue to invest in sports.
We are not going to stop here. This is just the beginning, we talk finish. We will continue to build on what we have started. You know, now you may wait until 25 years later, now you may get up no good, not to go. Time blow, you may construct him all infrastructure blow, all in Narapla sports in event. It may be over 20 years before we host another Pacific Games. But that should not stop us from building sporting infrastructure, sporting communities throughout the country. Governments must continue to invest.
He said many of the infrastructures have structures to create management that will look after them so that the facilities can be used continuously. There are also plans in place to upgrade the National Sports Institute in Goroka and other facilities around the country.
Plan the whole infrastructure you make out land, we plan now putting structure, law, creating management, law, look at them all this infrastructure so you can continue to use them.
Impressed with the performance of the athletes, the Prime Minister said the government would continue its support of the high performance program for the next few years.
High performance program that we have initiated, we will continue to support it over the next year. We will continue to support it. In fact, we will put more money into making sure that you go out there and get the best training that is possible.
Deli Waigeno, National MTV Sports.
Va'a or outrigger canoe is not a well-known sport in Papua New Guinea, but the gold-winning performance of the PNG women's team at the recently 15th Pacific Games here in Port Moresby has ignited interest in the sport. EMTV Shane Soroya has more on this report.
Va'a has been contested as a form of sport in the Pacific for over a decade, but for PNG it has been dormant due to the fact that it was not so popular or as a compatible sport in high level. But that's all about to change after PNG's Va'a team took to the waters against some of the very best in the Pacific and the world champions Tahiti. Tahiti is ranked #1 in the world and has dominated the sport in countless international tournaments and world championships. The Tahitians have won gold in every Pacific Games competition they attended, earning their title as the kings and queens of Va'a in the Pacific, and they again demonstrated their superiority in the first heats of the competition, easily qualifying in the knockout stages of both 1500-meter and 500-meter events in the category V1, V6 and V12 competition. Other close runners were Fiji, Wallis and Futuna and Cook Islands. But it was not the case for rookies PNG when V6 women's team got the Tahitians on a roll in the final leg of the 500-meter sprints.
Well done, PNG, and well done, Fiji.
With the dip of the paddle and determined PNG women's V6 team, PNG took out silver with just a fraction of a meter behind Tahiti. Then came the V12, the 1500-meter race course. It was all go for Team PNG women's Va'a with the vocal coach to drive them home. The inspirational captain Zenia Penny and veteran Nelly Tetaga held the team to an outstanding win that had the whole country talking about their win. With this achievement, the question now, what can be done to build interest in this amazing water sport in the near future?
The silver and the gold for the women, really happy about that. Hopefully the sport goes from strength to strength with that little bit of success. But it's not all over just because we won these 2 medals. We need to keep improving and compete consistently with the international or the big countries in our sport. Once we achieve that, I think with the rest of the country will be very proud of us.
And if PNG can succeed by dethroning the world's best, how much effort and support can the government bank on Va'a to prepare them for the next Pacific Games in Tonga? Shane, Soroya National, EMTV Sports.
Well, True Kai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports.
Obviously, with the new turf and the facility itself, we were wondering how Hockey Fives would go, because this is the first Hockey Fives tournament in the world as far as for seniors. It's been played at the Youth Olympics last year, but we've...
Welcome back to True Kai Sports. Well, hockey made a return to the Pacific Games after 36 years. It was last competed in the 1979 South Pacific Games in Suva, Fiji. This year was the first time five-a-side hockey was played in the Pacific Games on a pitch that's regarded as world-class. With the type of hockey pitch available in PNG, this will provide improvement to the skills of players. MTV's Elijah Levitt reports.
Obviously, with the new turf and the facility itself, we were wondering how Hockey Fives would go, because this is the first Hockey Fives tournament in the world as far as for seniors. It's been played at the Youth Olympics last year, but we've not played it as a senior tournament anywhere in the world. So this was a first, and I'd have to say it's been very successful.
The Fijians came in as all-time favourites, playing Vanuatu in the men's division to take out gold, and the women beat PNG to clinch gold as well. Even though Papua New Guinea did not manage to grab gold, the new water pitch built will provide more opportunities for PNG to host international competitions and will allow our hockey players to enhance their skills on the pitch with the certain aim of becoming a threat to the Fijians. In an article written by the Oceania National Olympic Committee, it said, the Federation of International Hockey President Leandro Negre promised more international competitions to be held in Papua New Guinea after meeting PNG Sports Minister Justin Tshechenko and visiting the new artificial turf built for the Pacific Games. Also in the article, it stated that the FIH president would like the World League Series Rounds 1, which has been staged in Fiji, to now take place in Port Moresby. With better facilities built for this sporting code here in the country, and the positive feedback we are getting from the Federation of International Hockey, this will motivate hockey players of today to endure in the sport, which may see Papua New Guinea one day become kings and queens of hockey in the Pacific region. Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
Well, True Kai Sports ends on that note. The weather details for the next 24 hours when we come back. Stay with us.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Hours in southern region, Port Moresby and Karama mostly fine, then becoming cloudy with chances of few evening showers. In Momase, Madang, Wewak and Bunnymore, mostly fine. In the New Guinea Islands, Kavieng, partly cloudy with chances of few showers at times. And lastly, in the Highlands region, all centres mostly fine. Now, a quick recap of our stories before we go. Prime Minister announces incentives for non-medal winners from the 2015 Pacific Games. Also, Mabe Governor to seek permanent resettlement for Manam Islanders, and Parliament resumes for the July session. Well, that's been National MTV News tonight. From the news team, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks heaps for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.